Hey, gang. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend, had a lot of fun outside. I hope you all took my advice and turned off your computers for a while and went outside and got some fresh air and did something active, especially based on what we are going to talk about today. Because let me tell you what, nothing shocks me anymore. Literally nothing. Like, when we're talking about a culture war in America today, we're not talking about who you're voting for president, or what political party you're registered to vote for, or generally what your opinion on a specific bill in Congress is. No. We're talking about if you work out, if you eat healthy food instead of processed crap. We're talking about if you go on dates, not just to hook up with someone, but to be happy on those dates and find lasting relationships and meaningful committed love to one another. We're talking about if you have a good relationship with your family, or if you're just generally living a wholesome life, worshiping God, and not every other random thing that we see in society today. So if you went outside this last weekend and you did something fun and you exercised, congratulations. You are countercultural and you are doing your part to win whatever culture war with the changing front lines of battle we face on a day-by-day basis. I'm very glad that everybody is on the same page with that. We'll dive into all of that on the stream today, talking about health and wellness and society's all-out attack on health and wellness. But first, I just want to say hello to each and every one of you. We have hit some really crazy milestones in the last 24 hours on social media. So there's a lot of you that are watching for the first time on the stream today, or maybe are watching for the first time in the last couple of days on the stream across the platforms that we are live on right now. YouTube, Facebook, Getter, Rumble, and of course to our locals family. So I already saw Allison come through on our YouTube chat saying it's the first time that you are watching live. Allison, I'm so glad that you're here. But if you guys are part of this community that is watching live for the first time, maybe you started following me on TikTok or on Instagram like today, and you happened to click on the link to make sure that you could catch the stream live today. Hello, I am so glad you are here, and it is such a pleasure to meet you. Drop in the chat if you are watching for the first time, or if relatively you're pretty new to the stream, where you're watching from and maybe where you came from. If you clicked from Instagram or TikTok or wherever, maybe your YouTube Discover page, wherever you might have found this stream. It's always fun for us to get to know where you guys came to the party. This is a true live stream, meaning right now it is 3:53 p.m. Eastern time. I'm interacting with the chat. We want your guys' questions. We want your feedback. We want you to participate in the discussion. So throughout the stream, nothing is off limits. Drop everything over in our live chat. I am smart, but I'm not quite smart enough to figure out what you are thinking or if you have any questions throughout the stream. And as a reminder, at the end of the stream today, we are going to be doing our post-stream Q&A exclusively over on our locals community. The reason we do it in our locals fam is so that I can answer as many people's questions as possible, because you guys have a lot of questions and things get lost in the live chat throughout the stream. So I'm going to drop the link right here to our locals community. We have some other exclusive content that only exists over there to our locals family. As an independent creator, you guys had asked if we could dive deeper into two subjects. Number one, dating, and number two, faith, more so than what we can cover on the stream. So in the last few weeks, we have really dived deep into dating through our series Outdated, which premieres every Tuesday on locals, and our series Domus, covering the big questions about faith and the church, also on locals every Thursday. As an independent creator, it's awesome to have total control over all of my content across platforms, but that's a really great way that we can continue funding this stream, funding my short form content, and a bunch of other projects that I have working on behind the scenes right now for all of you guys too. So all of that exists only on locals. I hope you can come join us for our post-stream Q&A over there. It is super fun every day and a very fun back and forth conversation that you don't usually get on social media and on your ordinary live stream. So glad that you guys are all here. And I'll just say really quickly, if you are totally new around here, there's a lot of you that feel the same way probably. We hit 325,000 followers on Instagram today, and we hit 200,000 followers on TikTok today. We just surpassed about 1,000 over on Rumble and about 10,000 on YouTube subs and followers. So I'm so overwhelmed and just so unbelievably grateful that God is taking us on this crazy journey and increasing this community at every possible opportunity. I posted a cute little get to know me post over on my Instagram today for if any of you guys are new and you wanted a little bit more about my story or what I do as a creator, you can find that over there. We've got people watching from across the globe right now. In America, we've got Thomas in Indiana, Will in New York, Kelly in Texas on YouTube. Kim is watching on Facebook. We've got on YouTube somebody watching from the Netherlands, which is super awesome. Ethan is watching from the UK, first time catching me live. Happy late Coronation Day to all of you guys. Rakan, let me know how to say it, is watching for the first time from Pakistan, which is so very cool. On Getter, our chat is popping off. We've got Gerald watching. We've got John watching. We've got Kanad watching. And several others. Of course, on our locals fam, you guys are all here. You're all ready for the party. Johnny Diamond is watching. Alex is watching. African Warlord is watching. Web Wolf is watching and sends a hug. Hug back to you. We love to see it. I think we've got some others that haven't said anything yet in the chat. As a reminder, use the chat throughout the whole stream today. Let us know your thoughts, your feedback, if you agree or disagree with anything that I say. Okay, all of that to be said, holy cow, big intro to our stream today. Also, I have a little bit of a sore throat, so the irony is we're talking about health and wellness on a stream where I'm not feeling my healthiest and wellest self, but we will power through and we will make it work. I was at the gym this morning, finally, for the first time in a long time, because I've kind of been like running on all cylinders and catching way too many flights and not enough Z's at night. But I finally dragged my butt to the gym this morning. And just after my workout, was sitting in the little dance studio room adjacent to the gym to stretch. And I had opened up my TikTok to just scroll through some TikTok videos and see what was going on in the world today. And somebody had sent me the TikTok that I'm about to show you that I duetted. As a complete side note, the guy who made this compilation video, his name is Steve. He is a refugee from Hollywood in the music production industry, making scores for movies. And he has gone through like a whole self-awakening on TikTok as of late. So if you're looking for somebody really interesting to follow who has a lot of phenomenal things to say right now, Steve Hinton on TikTok is a fantastic resource and interesting person to get to know. But I see that Steve put together this little compilation, so I decide while I'm sitting there stretching at the gym to react to it, because as absolutely absurd as it is, sadly, nothing surprises me anymore, at least in America, with how we approach health and wellness. We have such a huge international community watching the stream every single day. Today alone, I just mentioned the Netherlands, the UK, Pakistan. We've got people watching from Australia, some people watching from the Philippines, and more. So if you guys are watching from another country, I'm very curious if throughout the stream you feel like your country and your society has attacked health and wellness the same way that America has. Because as much as we lead the world in medical innovation, as much as we lead the world in surgical technology, as much as we lead the world in cancer treatment and finding cures to obscure diseases, at the very basic level in America today, I do not believe the powers that be, the United States government, health nonprofits, health institutions, or even just the science in general, is really interested in promoting health and wellness at step zero, at how we can prevent bad things from happening, at how we can take care of ourselves today. Instead, I think our entire system of health has become retroactive and is focused on responding to bad things that have happened instead of preventing those bad things from happening in the first place. So if you agree, Australia, Brazil, Netherlands, UK, Pakistan, Philippines, everybody else watching from around the world, that your country is doing the same thing, or you think your country is doing a much better job than us, we want to know where we're going wrong and what we can do differently. So drop your thoughts throughout. But first things first, let's just take a look at what this lovely human being had to say on TikTok.
Another great question. This person was asking if there is any time in which intentional weight loss is not fatphobic. I'm going to say 99.9% of the times, if you are intentionally losing weight, it is fatphobic.
Oh boy.
I'm not saying if you start a medication and you happen to lose weight, that is fat phobic. I'm saying when you are intentionally exercising to lose weight is fat phobic. Because you are intentionally attempting to make your body smaller, that smaller is healthier, even though we've already discussed why that's not true. I know that when I'm lighter, I don't have as many issues with my mobility. That may be a correlation. As a personal trainer with a fat body, I know that movements impact people differently based on their body size, type, shape, mobility, a million things. So pretty much no, there is no time in which intentional weight loss is not fat phobic.
Lovely.
And that's just kind of the way it is.
That's just kind of the way it is. There's no time in which you choosing to work out, to lose weight, isn't fat phobic. Even though we admit, we're going to watch it again, just pause it, but we admit losing weight is better for your mobility. And it's easier to move your body when you lose weight because you're working out and building muscle and getting rid of fat. But it's always fat phobic for you to make that decision to move easier. In case you missed anything the first time, let's just watch her again and see what she has to say.
Another great question. This person was asking if there is any time in which intentional weight loss is not fat phobic.
Is there any time in which intentional weight loss is not fat phobic? As a reminder, this guy is Steve Hinton, and I totally recommend following him on TikTok. He has a super interesting account.
I'm going to say 99.9% of the times.
When she got me there, 99.9% of the time, I was sure that she was going to say, no, it's not fat phobic. Instead,
if you are intentionally losing weight, it is fat phobic. I'm not saying if you start a medication and you happen to lose weight, that is fat phobic.
So if you accidentally lose weight, it's not fat phobic. But if you on purpose lose weight, yeah, you're being fat phobic.
I'm saying when you are intentionally exercising to lose weight is fat phobic. Because you are intentionally attempting to make your body smaller, that smaller is healthier.
Smaller is healthier. Smaller is healthier to an extent, we know. But generally speaking, smaller equals healthier.
Even though we've already discussed why that's not true. I know that when I'm lighter, I don't have as many issues with my mobility.
So I'll admit though, when I'm lighter and when I'm smaller, I don't have as many issues with my body and how my body moves, but I don't want to be fat phobic. So instead, I think she goes on to say, I'm an overweight coach, like overweight fitness coach.
Another great question. This person was asking. I'm not saying if you start a medication and you happen to lose weight, that is fat phobic. I'm saying when you are intentionally exercising to lose weight is fat phobic. Because you are intentionally
I just got a really exciting
make
text.
your body smaller, that smaller is healthier. Even though we've already discussed why that's not true. I know that when I'm lighter, I don't have as many issues with my mobility. That may be a correlation.
It might not be causational.
Body, I know that movements impact people differently based on their body size, type, shape, mobility, a million things. So pretty much no. There is no time in which intentional weight loss is not fat phobic.
There's no time in which intentional weight loss is not fat phobic. I just want to say Diamond Dog just put in our YouTube chat and I'm cracking up. I'm an overweight guy and I've decided to join the gym just to make this woman angry. Brock, if you're watching, go hit the gym to make this woman upset even though it's late at night and hungry. Alex, you're Brock's accountability buddy. You need to go. Okay, so am I surprised by any of this? No, I'm not surprised by literally any of this information because this is just the latest video in a string of like a year of videos and articles that I have seen directly attacking exercise, eating healthily, and taking care of yourself. So I thought it would be interesting after watching this video first thing this morning to spend our stream today talking about America's direct attack on health and wellness. But before we do that, literally live on the stream, I just got the most exciting text ever from my sister. You guys know that my sister just got into medical school, and if this stream doesn't tell you that we need really good doctors promoting actual good health, I don't know what else will. But she just got into her dream program last week in Ohio, and her boyfriend has been on the wait list at the same program in Ohio, and she just texted me that he got off the wait list. So I'm freaking out. We've been waiting for this for like 9 months. I'm just going to call her really super quick. I know we're live on the stream, but this is really crazy. This is all thanks to the prayers that you guys have been praying for the last several months. And thank you for all of your prayers. To Jared, we're going to FaceTime my sister really quick because I'm freaking out, you guys. This is the best news. She declined me. Gabby. All right, we'll call my mom. We'll try my mom. Guys, this is like literally unheard of. I'm freaking out right now. Thank you for your prayers. This is like crazy timing that I'm doing this on the stream. We'll see if she answers. It's ringing. Hi, we're on the stream right now, but did I just read that text right?
I don't know who texted.
Gabby!
I was calling to tell you.
My chat is freaking out because they've all been praying for Jared. So, yay! Okay, this is the best news. Okay, I'll call you later. Bye. Guys, thank you so much for your prayers. Now they're going to be going to med school together, which is like the number one thing we could have possibly been praying for in the last several months. Getting into med school in general is a less than 4% chance in the United States of America today. Getting into the same school from the same school is almost darn near impossible. They have been fighting this battle for like 9 months, figuring out how they were going to go to med school together. Thank you, Jesus. I knew it would all work out in the end. God bless. Anyway, we need good doctors. Gabby and Jared, you're going to be the best doctors in the whole gosh darn world. So excited for you. Cannot wait to celebrate you. Praise be. Glory to God. Okay, so unpacking how America is attacking health and wellness. That video didn't surprise me because that's not even the first video that I've seen on TikTok in the last several months, specifically saying that working out is fatphobic or eating healthily is fatphobic, that we should be promoting an unquestioningly body positive culture and fat positive culture. If you just go to your TikTok browser right now and search fat phobia or fat positivity or fat acceptance, you will be shocked at the results that come up in your search bar. And I actually had my entire TikTok account permanently deleted for several weeks about a year ago because I made a video reacting to an article that said not only is working out and taking care of yourself fat phobic, but beyond that, it's also white supremacist to go to the gym and buy into gym culture of taking care of yourself. So was I surprised one bit by that video? Absolutely not. And I started to sit there and think while I was stretching at the gym this morning about the reality that we live in today in 2023 America. The truth is, we are not a healthy society. Despite having the most medically advanced society in the world, despite promoting the most medical innovation and technological innovation for medicine in the world, despite being able to perform surgeries on the brain of babies in utero, sew up the womb and let that baby be carried to term and delivered healthily several months later, we are not a healthy society. Despite all of the pro-vegan, pro-plant-based diet, pro-organic and non-GMO culture that we live in today, we are not a healthy society. Instead, America, we are a fat society. Sorry, I said it, and I have absolutely no problem saying it because there's nothing fat-phobic or hateful or evil of me to say that. It is objectively true that in 2023 America, we have destigmatized being fat. We have destigmatized obesity So much so that it is normal to be obese. And I want to say up front throughout this entire stream today, if you are overweight or if you struggle with obesity or this is something that is a part of your story, I'm not saying any of this to condemn you. I'm not saying any of this to suggest that you are bad or evil or not somehow welcome to participate in these conversations. To the contrary, I love everybody who watches this stream and hopefully everybody who will potentially watch this stream through algorithms and everything. I love you enough to tell you the truth that obesity is not the best for you, that you deserve better than living a lifestyle that's going to cause pretty much every type of cancer, that's going to make you more likely to deal with blood clots and strokes, that's going to make it harder for you to move around and walk around, and instead you might develop bone disease or bone density problems later on in life, or just increased mobility issues and arthritis in general. I want better for you than the massive health implications associated with obesity. And is overcoming obesity unbelievably difficult? Yes, of course it is. Going to the gym to lose weight and putting yourself in a caloric deficit and eating foods with extreme intentionality when it is so much easier to just drive through the McDonald's drive-thru or go down to the grocery store and pick up another bag of Lay's potato chips. Those things are so hard to do. It is so much easier to just deal with whatever the ease in society is. And I think this post-health culture that we've cultivated in America today, this pro-obesity and pro-fat culture that we live in America today, really stemmed from being lazy in culture. Because let's face it, we live in a society and a time where I can pick up my phone and I can order literally anything under the sun, and more often than not, Amazon can have it to my door in an hour or less, which is bonkers crazy. Every single restaurant that I love in a 20-mile radius, I can have delivered to my house in about half an hour, thanks to Uber Eats and DoorDash. I don't even have to wait for a taxi, standing up in line to wait for a taxi anymore. I can order an Uber as I'm getting off a plane and then literally walk right into the Uber to go home. Everything is instantaneous. Everything is. And things have sped up so quickly in society that we don't feel the need to go out and work hard for things anymore. And I think we're starting to see the complete detriment of that in so many different aspects of our life and of our culture, health just being one tiny slice of the pie, no pun intended there. But when we've made it easier to not work hard for anything, of course we're going to have a fat society. Who would want to go to the gym and put in 9 months of work or a year of work and then maintain that lifestyle for a lifetime, when instead you can be cool and progressive and fit in with society and be the forefront of a body positive culture that feels so good. We're so happy to do it all the time. Of course, we know that it doesn't feel very good. It feels good for about 5 minutes until you get diagnosed with diabetes and cancer and heart disease and bone disease and blood clots and strokes and hair loss and all kinds of other problems later on down the line. But it feels really good emotionally right now to lead the charge of body positivity, which, like most things from our woke leftist culture, is the exact opposite of what it means. We're not promoting positivity of anything. We're manifesting negativity to the point that we're comfortable literally killing people, which is the exact same thing that we do for abortion and for gender care and for every other type of health. But it's the difficulty piece. It's the putting the work in piece that gives your life, in a greater sense, value. That's why entrepreneurship is so important and valuable. You putting in the work to make your dream a reality feels so much more meaningful and valuable on the other end of that than showing up to be an intern for 3 years at a massive woke corporation. You putting in the time over decades and decades and decades in intimate connection and marriage with one person has far more significant value than hooking up with somebody for one night and then texting them 2 weeks later at 3 a.m. when you're bored, you up? That's what gives things value. To the same point, taking care of yourself, putting in the hours at the gym, not so that you'll look amazing in a bikini, which is a positive, sure, but so that you can feel good and have the energy and endurance and endorphins to be happy and love to do the things that you want to do, to go have fun and play with the important people in your life, to eat well so that you don't have to end up on an operating table. Take it from somebody with 6 scars in her tummy because of a kidney surgery, which was a congenital deformation and problem with the way that my kidney was structured. It wasn't anything that I did that caused that. But if I can do anything today that's going to prevent me from laying on an operating table later on, I'm absolutely going to do it. And that might be hard in the moment to not eat an entire bag of pretzels or go through the Wendy's drive-thru and actually make myself something to eat. But I feel a difference when I put in the hard work and I give myself the difficulty to give things value. Daniel Maynard in our locals chat says, nothing worth doing was ever easy. It's exactly correct. Nothing worth doing was ever easy. It's always worth it, though, in the end. A couple of months ago, Brock and I were at Universal Orlando because I was giving a speech for a really cool organization called Bridge USA, which I'm super excited to be doing some more work with them this year, starting more bridge building conversations in a world that's trying to tear everybody apart and say that everybody who's different from us is evil. That's a conversation for another time. But I was in Orlando with Bridge USA, and Brock and I took an extra day and we went to Harry Potter at Universal Orlando, which was the best day of my life. I had been to Universal in LA once, and that's the only theme park I had ever been to. I've never done Disneyland or Disney World, which today I don't really have a huge desire to do, but would certainly be interesting. I haven't been to the Harry Potter studio tours in London, Johnny Diamond is saying, so I'll have to go make a trip for that. But I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. If you guys know anything about me, you will know I have read these books forward and backward in several languages. Every Christmas, I reread Harry Potter. They're all sitting right here, all the illustrated versions. It only takes 21 hours to watch all 8 movies in a row with snack and meal breaks. You want to know how I know that? Because I've done it. Like, I'm literally that obsessed. When I'm sad, I watch Harry Potter. When I'm happy, I watch Harry Potter. My first child's nursery will be a Harry Potter themed nursery. Okay, like this is the level of obsessed that I am. So I was so excited when Brock took me to Universal Orlando and we had ourselves an absolute ball that day. We were so nerdy. It was amazing, like reliving childhood. But I kept looking around at this amusement park, and several times I had to look my fiance dead in the eyes and say, I want you to make me a promise right now that you will not let our family end up like this, because I kid you not, 95% at least of the families walking around this theme park were morbidly obese. And of course, we were in Orlando and we were at a theme park, so I'm sure the sample was not actually indicative of what the general American population looks like, but I was really fortunate to grow up in Colorado, which statistically is the healthiest, least obese, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it, and most active with exercise, doing things outdoors state in America. It was very normal to work out, to be really crunchy granola, eat all the organic non-GMO foods. Family in Colorado, that was extremely normal. My mom would force us to go on hikes every weekend, and we fell in love with hiking and skiing and fly fishing and doing really hard active things ourselves throughout our entire childhood. And having spent more time now in the South because of my fiance being from Alabama, going to theme parks, doing things like this, it's just dawned on me that what was normal for me in my childhood is not normal for the average person in society today. And the more states I have the amazing privilege of seeing around the country, the more places I have the opportunity to go see around the world, I'm realizing that this lazy culture that is, instead of promoting health, moving the benchmarks of what health is actually supposed to be, has promoted really unhealthy lifestyles and a really unhealthy way of living. Fast food has played into it, and obviously fast food companies are unbelievably influential in society. Big pharma is playing into it because they can make a profit off of selling you drugs that you wouldn't need unless you were unhealthy. Of course, our woke culture has played into it with fat acceptance and attacking anybody who's not fat as being fatphobic, apparently, but I thought body positivity, but I guess only for fat people. Fitness magazines are putting morbidly obese women on the cover of all of these fitness magazines, and none of it makes any sense. To the point that we are now comfortable, as I mentioned, moving the goalposts and changing the definition of what healthy is instead of just telling people to be healthy. And this was something that absolutely shocked me when I first read it a few months ago. I think this was in January. Yeah, when all of this came out, January 11th. Just a few months ago, our health experts in America, the powers that be, the voices that we should trust to be telling us the truth about all of these things, changed the guidelines for childhood obesity so substantially because it's normal now for kids to be obese, thanks to the culture that we live in today. CNN Health reported on January 11th that there were updated obesity treatment guidelines for children and teenagers, which, kicker, included medication and surgery for young people. This comes from the American Academy of Pediatrics. So these are the experts that are supposed to be telling us how to be healthy, changing the guidelines entirely so that we won't be healthy and instead will make a profit for Big Pharma. Lovely. Their guidelines for treatment of obesity urge prompt use of behavior therapy and lifestyle changes, and they say surgery and medications should be used for some people. The guidelines, published Monday in the journal Pediatrics, are the first comprehensive update to the Academy's obesity treatment guidelines in 15 years. They provide guidance of treatment for children as young as 2 and through the teenage years. Treatment for younger children should focus on behavior and lifestyle for the entire family, including nutrition support and increased physical activity. Love that. Until you're 12. And then if you happen to be obese when you're 12, we'll focus a little bit less on the lifestyle side of things, i.e. watching what you eat and exercising and taking care of yourself, to now use weight loss medication. And if you're 13 or older with severe obesity, you should be evaluated for weight loss surgery, according to these guidelines, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. Fascinatingly, these new guidelines do not discuss obesity prevention, not one bit. The American Academy of Pediatrics says that there's another policy statement waiting to come, but they're not really interested in preventing obesity, perhaps because our culture has normalized being fat and being obese, so much so to the point that obesity prevention might not even be possible in the world that we live in today. How unbelievably sad is that? It broke my heart when I read that a few months ago, because our kids deserve a whole hell of a lot better than that, right? We deserve to have a healthier society than obese children running around, to the point that a 13-year-old needs surgery to lose weight. But of course, the same 12 or 13-year-old will probably be pressured into taking a pill or even undergoing surgery to change her gender by the time all is said and done. So I'm not surprised one bit. Alex says perfectly in our locals chat, Big Pharma probably says, oh, something is wrong with you, here's a pill. Yeah, that's about right. That's exactly correct. And this is the world that we've constructed for ourselves. Health in America, though, even beyond obesity, even beyond weight loss, beyond how much we exercise or what we eat, which is the most bare minimum step 1 level of health, right? This is the most easily what we can do today to prevent problems down the line taken step of all. Health, even outside of that, is upside down in America. And I want you to just really think about whether or not we live in a healthy society. And the same might apply for whatever country you are living in if you're watching this from overseas or around the world today. In America today, we say we have massive problems with maternal mortality rates, which we do. We're doing absolutely amazing things to prevent bad things from happening during pregnancy and to keep baby and mom alive, including, as I mentioned earlier, an entire new field of surgery where we can actually operate on babies in the womb, fix whatever abnormality is going on, sew the womb back up, let that baby be carried to term, and then birthed at full term, which is insane. We have such advanced medical technology in the NICU and in the emergency room that if a mom is having a medical emergency during pregnancy, like preeclampsia or a blood clot or something else that is life-threatening to her or her child, OBs will deliver that child, help mom, save the problem for mom and save the problem for child. And we are curbing those horrible statistics of maternal mortality rates, particularly for the Black community, every single day. So we acknowledge we have a problem, and there's a very small number of people that are working to fix that problem. But the widespread narrative of how we should fix maternal mortality in America today is to just kill our babies through abortion instead. Because why would we put the life of a mom who is pregnant at risk by allowing her to have her child when we could just perform an abortion instead? Which, by the way, always puts the life of mom at risk anyway. It's why in places like New York City, more Black babies are aborted than are born today. That's not a statistic I made up. That's an actual factual statistic. We do the same thing with child gender transition. Rather than evaluating no history whatsoever of gender dysphoria in a child who says that they want to change their gender, which is most often what's happening today, and calling this what it is, a social contagion where a child is being pressured by her teacher, by her friend group, by the Planned Parenthood rep who came in and taught sex ed this week to change her gender and escape all of the problems associated with where she's at right now. By just taking some testosterone, she'll feel a lot better. Rather than evaluating that for what it is, we tell a child it is healthier for you, and mom and dad, it's healthier for your child to take chemically castrating drugs that were developed to castrate sex offenders because it's totally reversible and it's not going to do anything for them long term. And it is better to send a 12-year-old girl into an elective double mastectomy or elective hysterectomy, putting her through menopause before she goes through puberty, than to protect that child's health at all. Never mind, of course, the fact that a new study came out this last week, a lot of people have been talking about, that the number of psychotic drugs that are prescribed to people who say that they are trans actually increases after gender transition surgery. So you're not helping their gender dysphoria or their anxiety or their depression or their suicidation or any of the other problems going on in their life by letting them transition or helping facilitate that transition at the drop of a pin with no questions, comments, or concerns about any diagnosis of gender dysphoria. You're actually hurting their mental health as well as their physical health. We do that with mental health treatment in America today. This story was published not too long ago in the New York Times. This teen was prescribed 10 psychiatric drugs. She's not alone. So instead of evaluating her anxiety and depression for what they are and working with this teenager to rebuild the neural pathways in her brain to help her not be anxious and depressed anymore, if that's something that impacts you, you are not alone. I am exactly the same way. Instead of doing the traditional therapy and 10 psychiatric drugs route, I went the mindfulness training route, which literally rewires the circuitry in your brain and helps these problems rather than over-medicating us. Rather than helping acknowledge why is this happening to you, Big Pharma threw 10 psychiatric drugs at this beautiful young woman. The New York Times says increasingly anxious and depressed teens are using multiple powerful psychiatric drugs, many of them untested in adolescence. Shocking, I know. One morning in the fall of 2017, Renee Smith, a high school freshman on Long Island, could not get out of bed, overwhelmed at the prospect of going to school. I remember feeling that way as a teenager. In the following days, her anxiety mounted into despair. I should have been happy, she later wrote, but I cried, screamed, and begged the universe or whatever godly power to take away the pain of 1,000 men that was trapped inside my head. Intervention for her depression and anxiety came not from the divine, but from the pharmaceutical industry. Shocking. The following spring, a psychiatrist prescribed Prozac. The medication offered a reprieve from her suffering, but the effect dissipated, so she was prescribed an additional antidepressant, Effexor. I don't know how to pronounce it. A medication cascade had begun. During 2021, the year she graduated, she was prescribed 7 drugs. These included one for seizures and migraines. She experienced neither, but the drug can also be used to stabilize your mood because that's totally healthy. Giving a teenager seizure medication when she's not having seizures, and another to dull the side effects of the other medications, although it's used mainly for schizophrenia, because that's so healthy for us to overprescribe drugs for seizures, for schizophrenia, for migraines, for all kinds of other things, to just prevent a little bit of anxiety, instead of just figuring out what's causing the anxiety and helping that child overcome it. And of course, we do this with physical health, namely our body mass index. The Pan American Health Organization, which is a subsidiary of the WHO, I know we probably have a lot of feelings about the WHO, but this is an interesting article, recently announced in November that the number of people with diabetes in the Americas has more than tripled in the last 3 decades. Growing rates of obesity, they say, poor diets, and lack of physical activity, among other factors, have contributed to a more than 3-fold increase in the number of adults living with diabetes in the Americas in the past 30 years. Today, at least 62 million people live with diabetes in the Americas, a number which is expected to be much higher given that around 40% of those with the disease are unaware that they even have diabetes. If the trends continue, the number of people with diabetes in the United States of America and in Canada and Mexico is projected to reach 109 million people, a third of our population, by the year 2040. So our solution is what? Tell you you're perfect just the way you are, which is what we do in culture. That's what we tell my generation about everything. You are perfect just the way you are. You're perfect if you're obese. You're beautiful if you're obese, actually. We're going to put you on a Victoria's Secret ad and on the cover of Self magazine as the future of fitness. If you are anxious and depressed or want to take your own life, which is incredibly normal today, by the way, my generation is experiencing the largest mental health crisis that has ever been seen by the world, ever encountered, to the point that 1 in 3 teenage girls in 2021 America seriously contemplated taking her own life. 1 in 3. So that's very normal. But instead of telling these young women and these young men and anybody who's experiencing some sort of mental health distress that they need help and that we're here to help them, we tell them, you are perfect just the way you are. Here's 10 prescription drugs for ailments that you don't have that might make you feel happy, but also you're going to need to take this drug to stabilize all of the side effects from all of those drugs. So when all is said and done, you will be a hollow shell of yourself and you won't recognize any feelings whatsoever because we've stabilized everything. Instead of looking at a young man or a young woman who is so discontent with their current state of affairs in life that they say they want to chop off their genitals and say, hang on a second, maybe we should ask, what's going on at home? What's going on at school? What's going on in your life that you feel so strongly that you need to put yourself through menopause before you put yourself through puberty? We say, oh, you're struggling with gender dysphoria, even though you've never been diagnosed with that ever for a day in your life and have no licensed letter from a therapist? That's okay. Here's some testosterone. We are going to help you struggle more with that thing instead of help you. Which, could you imagine if we treated anxiety or depression or suicidal behavior like this? We have become an instant gratification, pill-pushing, reactionary health version of our healthy society. And just like everything else in America today, where I like to say we live in the upside down, where everything is backwards and unrecognizable, health in America is upside down. Science at large in America is upside down, to the point that we're happy letting one person be the science, which of course got him how many Netflix and HBO and book deals along the way for doing that. even though the science is supposed to be about asking all the big questions, finding the data that supports your claim, and then figuring out if your hypothesis was or was not right. And it really breaks my heart that we've arrived at this time in 2023, because if you're new around here, you might not know this, but if you've been around for a while, you'll know my dream for most of my childhood was to become a doctor. I wanted to become a trauma surgeon. That was like my end all be all, and go work out in like ski patrol doctor or Doctors Without Borders or something like that. And I loved the pursuit of objective truth that came through science, so much so that I got my undergraduate degree in biomedical sciences, and then I pursued my master's degree more on the policy side of things after I decided I didn't want to go to medical school at Georgetown in biomedical sciences, policy, and advocacy. My sister ended up following through, so she starts med school and her boyfriend starts med school in July, but we got the exact same degree in undergrad, and I'm really happy that there are good, sane, wonderful, truth-telling people still going to medical school today, because sadly, they're even changing the Hippocratic Oath at some of these schools like Columbia now to fit the woke agenda. But how could it be possible that truth has degraded so substantially in modern society that even the people that are supposed to help us be healthy and help us get better are allowing things like this to happen? I don't know if any of you work in the medical industry. You could work in medical innovation or pharmaceuticals or in a hospital or as a nurse or a doctor. There's a lot of doctors and nurses who follow me on Instagram and are very, very outspoken about the things that we talk about in these conversations and what I post on my Instagram, that they are doing the right things and they are fighting the right battles and trying to retain sanity and objective truth and real health in medicine today. But I am tired. I am so tired of seeing us twist the definition of health and wellness, just like everything else in society, and give people a bag of goods, or should I say a bag of pills, and say that they're healthy when they're not, because people deserve a whole lot better than that. So, in this unhealthy society and unhealthy world, what can we do about it? Really, it comes down to our own ability to take care of ourselves, to prevent bad things from happening and prevent disease or deformity or whatever from happening in our lives and in our bodies by what we do today. It is hard AF to drag your butt out of that warm, cozy bed first thing in the morning and go run on the treadmill and lift weights for 30 minutes. It's really hard. I never want to do it. I hate getting up and going to the gym first thing in the morning. But damn it, I feel really good after a workout. It is really hard to tell that little voice in the back of your head, I'm just so lazy. I don't really want to cook. I don't want to deal with doing the dishes. I don't want to do any of these things. I'll just run through the drive-thru or order something on DoorDash. It's hard to say, you know what? No, I am going to cook and prepare a meal and be really intentional about the ingredients that I'm putting into my food right now, and then control how much of that food that I eat. It's hard, but don't you always feel a lot better when you've had a week or two where you've stuck consistently to that before you go off the deep end and allow yourself one too many cheat days? It is hard to do the little things every single day that prevent the big things from happening. But as we said earlier, nothing worth doing was ever easy. It's the hard work that you put in today that's going to make your life a lot easier later on down the line. Speaking of TikTok, I saw a different TikTok video a few months ago, and the audio has been rattling around in my head for months. That ironically, when things get harder in your life, they also get a lot easier. Like when you work out every single day, that's hard. But after a year, your life's a lot easier. You have better stamina, better endurance. You can do more things for fun. You don't get winded going up the stairs. It's hard to date somebody with intention and open up your heart for vulnerability and stick with that person through the ups and the downs, which happens in every relationship. Way harder than just hooking up with somebody once every couple of weeks or meeting somebody once and never talking to them again. But after 30, 40, 50 years, that's a lot easier than feeling alone and lonely and figuring out what your purpose is in life. It's really hard to put in the work up front to be an entrepreneur and start your own business, or try to become a content creator and just speak into the ethos of nothingness for a really long time, for months and months and months and months, until finally algorithms start picking up your content. But oh my gosh, is it easier when my work can happen whenever I want and I don't have to go into an office every single day and I don't have to be worried about my financial security from month to month anymore, even though I did for a really long time. As things get harder, they also get a lot easier. And I think we need to remind ourselves that the work we can put in today, our individual contribution to our own lives, rather than just letting things happen to us, but taking back ownership and control over our lives, and then putting our faith in something bigger than ourselves, which is the most clear indicator of health, is your spiritual health. That's when things can become truly healthy again. I want to round out the stream with some examples of the healthiest communities around the world, the oldest communities around the world, and what they are getting right. ThinkGlobalHealth.org put together this cute little photo slideshow of the world's oldest communities. A look at blue zones, which are spots where people live well into their 90s. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that documentary series with Zac Efron on Netflix. Besides the fact that it's Zac Efron. Sorry, Brucky, if you're watching. I forget what it's called. It's hang on, it'll hit me. Down to Earth, I think is what it's called. But he travels the world, and it's kind of like an Anthony Bourdain style travel vlog, and then provides commentary on whatever's going on. And some of them are environmentalism, and some of them are eating and whatever. They go to one of these blue zones in Italy where almost everybody was above 90 that they talked to. And that was a super interesting episode. So I'm glad I remembered that. I might go watch that later today. But blue zones are generally places around the world, communities where people are having the highest life expectancies in the world. And of these places, they have a lot of things in common. The first one being Sardinia in Italy, which has 534 people who are 100 or older. That's 33.6 centenarians for every 100,000 people. Their diet, which includes wine, which is great, and a Mediterranean-style diet, a low-stress lifestyle, and a sense of community, a strong sense of community. People in real life, daily socializing with one another, not through a screen, all contribute to the longevity of the residents of this community. In Okinawa, in Japan, regular physical activity, who would have thought, is thought to be one of the contributing factors to the large number of elderly people living in the blue zones. In Okinawa, home to one of the highest percentages of centenarians around the world, many people take part in regular exercise. Dance is a common activity for many Japanese people and has a rich history in their country. Basically has two different characteristics, but these are some women practicing traditional cultural dance in Okinawa, and they go outside and they work out, which is really good for you. In Ikaria, I think is how you would say it, in Greece, it's sometimes referred to as the island where people forget to die. This island also shares many characteristics with other blue zones, including a strong sense of community, not constantly staring at something through a screen, but actually interacting with people in your life every single day. Daily socializing can help mitigate feelings of loneliness and depression. Gee, I wonder how much more successful daily socializing with people IRL in real life, how much more successful that is in preventing anxiety, depression, and suicide than 10 different psychiatric drugs for a teenager. When we've put everything behind a screen, their sex, their dating, their entertainment, their school, their work, and everything else. Also on this island, this is the part that I really wanted to hammer home at the very end. Another shared characteristic across the blue zones, everywhere, where everybody has the highest life expectancy on Earth, typically is that they belong to a strong religious community. Many different studies report that spirituality and organized religion are associated with better health, which are in part due to greater social support and reduced rates of depression. Not to mention just going outside and having fun. So if we know that all of these people are doing all of the right things, oh my gosh, Johnny Diamond said I'm going to Italy this weekend. Oh, that's like my favorite place in the entire world except for Israel. I'm so jealous. If we know that all of these things are working, it is absolutely insane to me to realize that in 2023 America, to embrace a countercultural lifestyle is to just embrace health. We talk about fighting a culture war all the time. And I think we've associated that for so long with conservative politics. But in reality, in 2023, to fight a culture war and to be countercultural and to just be different from the society that you live in, that means taking care of yourself, working out, eating healthily, taking your health as a priority in your life, dating people with intention, starting a family, belonging to organized religion. Like an actual organized church, not something that you watch on YouTube, but like actually taking care of your spiritual life and showing up somewhere to worship together. Hanging out with people in real life regularly, not through a screen, is countercultural today. Going outside and having fun and doing something active with your body is countercultural today, which is crazy to me. But I cannot reiterate this enough. When we are talking about fighting cultural battles today, we are not talking about who you voted for or what political party you're supporting or what your opinion about a certain bill on Capitol Hill is. We are talking about the dates that we go on and the food that we eat or whether or not we even exercise or exercise regularly. We're talking about our family unit. We're talking about having faith in something that's bigger than what we can just see that's right around us every day, and our ability to disconnect from technological problems and all the things that we deal with behind our screens every once in a while, which is incredibly ironic, I know, that I'm telling you this on a live stream that only exists because of technology. That's not to say that technology is evil. I'm a big proponent that it's just a tool, but I think we owe it to ourselves to start taking a countercultural lifestyle into our own hands and manifesting that for ourselves in real life. We owe it to ourselves to find real love, to find real health, to find real faith in something bigger than this incredibly broken world. And it starts with each one of us being willing to live a countercultural lifestyle, to fight in a culture war in the least expected ways. You guys, what an absolutely freaking stellar stream. I love topics like this because it just reminds you that there's a lot more to talk about that's often a lot more meaningful than who we're arguing about when it comes to running for president and everything in between. We are going to transition now to our post-stream Q&A exclusively to our Locals fam, and I just dropped the link to this exact stream over on Locals in our live chat. I want to make sure you guys have an opportunity to join us. So go ahead and click that link if you would like to come over to our chat with us. We do as many opportunities for real conversation over on Locals as possible. It's kind of like social media for people who don't like social media because you guys can post to me. We have lots of interactive real-time conversation. When we call it a Locals community, that's because it is. It really is a community, and we want to facilitate as much of this. What you see is what you get over on Locals and across our other platforms as possible. Before you go, do me a huge favor today and hit that subscribe or follow button on whatever platform you're watching on right now, YouTube, Facebook, Getter, Rumble. We are so grateful for you guys always being here and sharing the stream for other people so that we can continue facilitating these important countercultural conversations that aren't happening anywhere else. And as an independent creator, every single hit of that subscribe or follow button means the absolute world to me and completely changes my life so that we can continue changing culture at large. Much love to each and every one of you. Thank you so much, and we will see you tomorrow back on the stream. Locals fam, don't go anywhere.